we are answering the question that you have to answer: how to compute the square root of a number using the math function. So step number one, you're going to ask yourself what goes into the program. Right? So what will go in? So you ask for input. Then you ask yourself, what is it that you want to come out of the program? And that will help you determine what's the process. Now, the way I wrote this question, I said that we need to have, maybe I should turn this around so the students can see the board. All right. I asked myself, I said, input a number, and let's call the number 1. So I'm going to say number 1. And then it says I need to output the square root of the number. So it's the way I wrote it. Because you are starting programming, I wrote it such that it becomes easy to extrapolate, big word, extrapolate what I want, right? So I must pull up that square root of the number. Now, there was a psychologist called Jean Piaget, and he spoke about concrete examples with students. In order to answer this question, it's nice to take a concrete example, Haley. So, Haley, what number do you know that you can apply sqrt to and generate an answer? So basically, I'm asking you for a skill. 100. So Haley says 100. Let me just put Haley on the spotlight there. There's Haley there. Well done, Haley. So Haley has a concrete example. Haley says, if the person enters in 100, Haley, what must be the output? The output must be 10. So now she has an idea. Guys at the back there on the laptop, please pay attention. You have an opportunity to work with it. Okay. Now the processing, Haley, you went to WT schools, and you know there's a function in C++. What's that function called, Haley, in order to calculate the square root of a number? sqrt. So I must use this function sqrt. So let's start coding. And I'm going to code just like the way I wrote. Input, processing, and output. Right? What goes into the program, what is being processed, and what comes out. So now, look at my, oops. Let's go back to my students. Right, here's my students there. And let's start a new project, right? So let's create a new project. And the language I'm going to use is C++. And I always start from a template. Template, I mean, I don't start from brand new. I have a template that tells me this is what I'm going to do. Okay, there's my template number 1. So on the top from lines 1 to 8, those are my comment statements. I'm going to remove that. And I want you to include your student number, right? So my student number is STUD, and student number. Nakwanda, yours is 205, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And it's NOKWNDA, Nakwanda, Sani. Gumeri, Gubani, NGUBANI, right? And I said I need to input, processing, and output, right? So as I am writing the program specifications, all this is my program specifications. Then I'm getting an idea what I need to do, all right? So I'm going to input a number 1, right? So Haley said 100, right? And then I'm going to process, I'm going to do some processing using sqrt function.
because that's what I learned, FUNCTION. And finally, I'm going to output the answer, which Haley said, if I input 100, then the answer is 10, right? So now I start with my main program, right? My main program. And again, out here, I'm going to say input, processing, and output. Right? Now, let me tell you something. If Haley does not know how to do this part, but she knows that her teacher asked her to display the square root of the number without knowing anything, if this was worth 10 marks, Haley is going to say the square root of number 1 is, right? You don't know how to do it, but Haley's going to write that out, right? Under output. The square root of the number is, so now we need a number. And the number that we want is number 1. So if I'm going to display an answer, let's call it answer, right? Somewhere out here, I'm going to say, I need an answer or a number. C in, because this is my input statement, and I need a number 1. Now, it comes from this. You know that the cursor will flash. Where I said C in, it's just going to flash. So above the C in statement, I need to have a C out statement. And the C out statement must say, C out. Haley, we made a little joke about it. Whenever we want a number, what must we say? What must we say, Haley? Please enter in a number, right? So now that will take care of the input part. And if I enter in the number, I want to display the number at the end of it all. I could say, I got to use standard because I'm not using namespace. The number is, okay, it's number 1, right? Number 1. Now, I don't know how to do sqrt, but I know it's somewhere in the W3 schools class library. W3 schools. Let's go to the math library. There's my math library out there, and it says sqrt. Hey, there we go, sqrt, and you put down 64. But we're not talking about 64. We're talking about input of a number 1. So let's go back here. So I need to do some processing. Under the processing part, sqrt, and I'm going to put down number 1. Now, it's always good programming practice to store your answer in a variable. Okay, Haley? We like to store it. Like I said, there's 3 things I'm going to teach you: input, processing, and output. But under processing, it's always nice to have a storage. For instance, if I have to find the average of 3 numbers, I first got to calculate the sum of 3 numbers. I'm going to store that, then divide it by the number. All right? So that's the intermediate step, the middle step. So I'm going to store it. Let's call this answer. Now, you all did WP school, you did the quiz. Every time we use a variable, you've got to declare it, right? So I go to the top and I start declaring my variables. I declare my variables, int number 1, and I'm also using answer. Right, those are the two I'm using. Now I look at my computer and say, hey, it seems to be looking good. Let me run it and see if there's any errors in there. All right. It's very seldom that a programmer will run his code and wow, it works at one go. Right? But I'm going to give you a strategy what to look for when you find an error. Right? Let's run the program. So I've got input, I've got my processing, I've got my output. And I now need to go at line number 37. I got to display my output. My output is stored in line 28. And out here it says, so let's run the program. Oh, by the way, I like to make a beautiful code. And I'm so happy that this program does it for me. I just click on the beautify button and it makes it also pretty. Right? Doesn't make it pretty. Okay, make it pretty. Right? Now I'm just going to save some lines of code because I want you all to see all the in one go. So let me just delete the extra lines because I want you to see everything in one shot, right? This is while I'm indenting the program. Let's run the program. And it tells me C out was not declared in the scope. Ooh, right? Remember I told you it's not very often that you get a program running at first go. I am missing something. Fortunately, you have some working programs and you've done some coding already for the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. C out, in order for me to use C out, I need to use, someone said it? Zanda? Right, where do I put namespace? Right, so what do I say now, Zanda? Using namespace. Right, now that came from experience. And you got that experience because you wrote a program called Hello, my name is. You wrote Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Bat. And you wrote the product of 4 and 5. And what else you did? Automatic testing. If you didn't do those programs, you're going to find it difficult. Something is missing. Let's compile the program again. So it told me that the error was in line number 17. And he also told me, right, let's run the program again. sqrt was not declared in the scope. So I'm using a function sqrt, and I'm unable to access it because I never read properly. By the way, I discovered students don't read, huh? Okay. So I read, and it says, in order to use the sqrt, I need to have include CMath. There's the CMath library. So I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to copy this, Control C, go up there and put it out here, right? So now that I have a class library called CMath, I'm able to use sqrt. That is why I wanted you to learn the W3 schools. I wanted you to complete the certification. So as we do the theory, when you are working on a practical example, it makes sense. So let me run the program now. There we go. Please enter in a number. Am I going to take any number here? Or am I going to take I'm going to take my test data. I'm going to take my test data of 100. And if I get the answer of 10, then I know my program works. Right? The number is 100. The square root of the number is 10. Right? Now, I gave you another question to answer. I gave you the one about cube square. Right? I'm going to take the very same strategy. By the way, would you like a copy of this? You'd like a copy of this? I know I would too, right? So let me just copy this. I copy Control C. No, Control A. Control A. I block all the text. Control C. I open up my MS Word. Right? You give me any programming example, and I can split it into 3. Right? So it's there. Okay, so let me look at the next. Let me look at another question that I had. Right? I'm going to leave that alone. Let's look at another question that I gave you. I gave you the question and I said, write a program to find the cube of a number. Right? The cube of a number. Write a program to input a number, compute the cube of the number, and then display the answer. Example 3 as input the cube. Oh, I missed the E there. The cube of that number is. Let me quickly charge my laptop. Is 27. So now, Haley, right. Right, so there's the question here, Haley. I'm going to erase. So now my question says, write a C++ program to input a number. Haley, what's my input here, Haley? No. When we talk programming, we talk general now, right? We don't say specific concrete examples. We move from the general to the specific, okay? So I need to input what? Read my question, Haley. Number, right? So number. Let's call it number 2 if you want, right? Doesn't matter. It's a variable name. You learned or you read W3 schools. I need to output what? Haley? The cube. The cube is. So now, Haley, give me a concrete example, Haley. So if someone enters in 3, Haley, what must come out here? 27. Now, Haley, how did I get from 3 to 27, Haley? I use power, or if I don't have power, how do I do it? 3 times 3 times 3. So I took 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. In mathematics, we did substitution. Because 3 is represented by number 2, I'm going to say number 2 multiplied by number 2 multiplied by number 2. Okay, Haley? Now I'm going to take what I wrote as a plan, and I'm going to write it in the online GDP, right? So let me start again. My projects. A new project. And again, this time, I'm going to take all of that out. My student number. Haley, what's your student number? 250-456-789, Haley. Student surname and initials. It's Haley S.G. Cavender. Right? Oopsie, why is it doing that? Right. Haley, what do I input, Haley? What am I calling it? Number 2. Under processing, Haley, what am I doing? Number 2 multiplied by number 2 multiplied by number 2, right? Under output, Haley, what am I going to do? I'm going to output the answer, which is the cube of the number, right? The cube of the number. All right, let me start again. So under my program, I'm going to write down input, processing, output. Haley, I don't know how to work it out, but all I know is my sir said, I want the cube of the number. So Haley, even without doing anything, I want 2 marks. Right now, as it stands, you got 1 mark. You want 2 more marks. So you write down, see out the number is, because that's the number you're going to enter in. Number 2, you learned this from your programming of hello, my name is. See out the answer is, and you know from the previous program you did, the variable you're going to call it is answer, right, Haley? All right, Haley? Now, you told me that because I use number over here, I need to go and input it in here. See in number 2, right, Haley? But you don't want it to be flashing on the screen. You can make this as a rule. If ever, very nice, you're copying it down, good. Right, the others are not bothered, right? They don't know, I'm not going to send it to them. They'll have to watch the video. Haley, I need to have a see out statement about that. And because we are well-mannered people, Haley, what would we say? Please enter in a number. ENDR, right? End line. Now that we got the number, I need to process it and I need to store the number. Okay? I know I had to look at some of your projects. It was, you did it all in one. But now I want you to break it up because the programs are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Question. And I also got to include if-else statements with you. Then I also got to include while loops, for loops. But if you listen to the strategy that I teach you, you can apply it throughout. So now my processing, I told you, is number 2 multiplied by number 2 multiplied by number 2, right? Now, Haley, we need to store this in a variable, right? And let's store it inside answer. Okay, so I stored it inside answer. Because this is what it tells me over here, right? This is the output. Now, Haley, because I use variables in my main source code function, the rule is if ever I'm using a variable, I've got to declare it. Haley, I got to declare it. I use number 2. Let's go and declare that. All you know right now is integers. So you just use integer, right? And we also used answer. Anything else, Haley? Right? Let me now go and run my program. Oh, I don't need this hello world. Never mind, put the hello world there. Instead of saying hello, I'm going to say goodbye. Right. Let's run the program. Again, if the program doesn't work, that's okay, because we're going to use the compiler to help me find the errors. I learned more about programming from my errors or my mistakes than from getting the program right on the turn. Let's run the program. Oh no! See out was not declared in the scope. Zanda. Using namespace. How you know that, Zanda? Because you did program. Hello, my name is on the 11th of February. Would you believe it, Zanda? It's 4 weeks of programming, Zanda. 4 weeks. I know in that 4 weeks, there were days that I didn't send you a WhatsApp or so, but I tried to make it up, Zanda, the following day or the previous day, I'll send 2 or 3, right? So imagine that, 4 weeks, you would have received about 20 WhatsApp messages from me, or maybe more. Zanda, maybe more. So now, Zanda, I've got to go and put down using name. There we go, using namespace standard. Right? There are some things in program that you just got to learn. You got to swat. It's like Zanda's got to learn his name. Right, Zanda? When you were born, Zanda, you got to know your birth date, right, Zanda? Whether you like it or not. So there's some things in programming that you just got to learn. By the way, is there a mic over here? I want you to use the mic. Oh, there's the mic there. Can I, hey, this mic? No. Please, man. It's too loud. Never mind. Play it. Last week we had karaoke. Oh, it was so much fun. Back to make it work. Yeah, I'll sing for you, right? We can sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Bats. Make it work. Right. Sorry about the commercial break. It's like, when you watch a YouTube videos. Let us go and run the program, Zanda. Wow. 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 Okay, I'll just pretend like it's working, right? Pretend like it's working, okay? Please enter in a number. Haley, we got to take the numbers that you've given us. If Haley gave me 3, the answer should be 27. Haley, give me a number. I want you to think of any number, Haley, any integer number between 2 and 4. Any number between 2 and 4. Any number. You want me to come down? Always sit in front, then you'll be able to be on camera. Oh, yeah. Any number. 3. Now, that's my test data. Let's see if it works. Right? So if I enter the number 3, and the number is 27. For those of you who are back to us, okay, 27. You like my strategy? You like my strategies? Right? I've been teaching programming for 29 years. I've been in education 29 years. Here's the mic here. Put it on. 1 second, I just want to put my mic on, right? Where's the thing, mic? Hello. Okay. Can you hear me in the back? Testing 1, 2. Caitlin, can you hear me? Okay. Hey, keep quiet, it's working. Right. So my strategy is simple. Input, processing, output. That's all you look for. By the way I wrote my question, I made it easy. But the questions you're going to get from now onwards, it's going to be more difficult. Okay? Lisa? Okay. Lisa, they can't hear you in the back, right? It's going to be more difficult. Then you got to decipher what's the input, what's the processing, what's the output. But ask yourself the following question. What goes in, what comes out, what must I do with what I have as input? That's all. Then when I start teaching you about the if-else statements, if-then, that's where you got to make a decision. If I am hungry, I must buy food. If I am thirsty, I must drink water. That's a decision I got to make. Right? Then when I start teaching you about loops, you simply do it over and over and over again. Right? But before I get to that, you would have completed the W3 Schools certification. So you will know what is a loop. You will know what is a for statement, a while statement, a if statement, a switch statement. Okay? Okay. Right? This is a risk too. Right? So there's my very simple example to explain to you how to answer the question that we've done thus far. Trust me, this works. My PhD studies was on how to teach students programming. Right? I spent 5 years to do that. This method works. I guarantee you, not one day. You listen to this method, you can give me any example, and I'll split it like this. All I got to do is what goes into the program, what processing takes place, what comes out. Do I make any decisions in the program? I use the if statement. Is it going over and over and over? I must use a loop statement. That's programming. Right? That's programming for you. Let me, oh, my camera is not on. Let's put the camera there, right? Right. Okay. Let me take any question, right? Let me go to Google. I'll say, let's go to Google, my friend. And I'm gonna, let's go Google. Give me an example of a simple C++ problem. Problem to code, right? I just made up something there. Right. Haley, you saw I did it for you, right? Write a C++ program that takes an array of numbers as input and provides the average of the numbers as return. If you wanted to build upon the array, you can make another average calculator. Right, Haley? From this question, Haley, what goes into the program? A variable, and in this case, it is array of numbers. I never taught you arrays. In fact, arrays comes at the end. What do they want me to provide as an answer? Average. So that's going to be my. Now, you studied mathematics in school. In order to calculate the average of a number, you've got to find the sum of the number. So that'll come inside processing. So you find the sum of the number, and then you'll divide it by the number, because that's maths. That's why maths was a prerequisite to this course. Right, Kaylin? You passed maths. You passed grade 12. Watch this here. Write a simple C program to print the sum of two numbers. Oh, that's too easy. What goes in? Two numbers, variables, right? What do I do as processing? Add. What comes out? The answer, sum. You want me to take another example? Anything. I'm so confident. Anything. I'll say, give me another. Give me a number. Here are some examples of C++, right? Hello world. Okay. There we go. Write a C++ program to find the quotient and remainder of two numbers. What goes in, Haley? A number. What must I do as processing, Haley? find the quotient, find the remainder. What comes out, Haley? The answer. That's all. Okay. Okay. Do you think you'd be able to do this now? All right, I'm giving you 15 minutes. Let's have a time competition. Okay, 20 minutes? 1 hour? All right. I'm not going to give you the answer here. You work it out. Give it, upload it to online GDB. Okay. And right. So I'm going to leave that. Let's go to INPR 101. Let's see who did the work already. sqrt. Wow. Hey, people have already done the work. That's cool. Let me see who did it according to what I said now, right? Gumedi Z. Are you here, Gumedi Z? Gumedi Z. You're not here. I'm not going to mark it. Who's here? Tell me on the square root. Anybody's here? Tell me, please. I'm here to help you. I'm not going to mark this. I'm not going to give you a mark for this. Number 8, right? You must put your surname the other way around, right? Pichakani, right? Then, right? So there we go. So now, look at that. Wow, she's got comment statements. I want you to make it more meaningful now, right? Under the comment statements, you must write down what the program does, okay? Then I want you to have input over here as a comment, right? Then I want you to have processing and, oh, she's done the processing and the input together. I mean, the output together. That's okay. But from now onwards, I want you to separate it, okay? Because the programs are going to get more and more complicated. Let's run the program. Let's use the example that Haley gave me, 100. Yay! Well done. But I'm going to reject this. Ask me why. Why? Why, Haley? She said, please, but she forgot to. Output. The answer is. Okay? Right? Will you do that for me? So I'm going to reject that one, right? It works, but it's, I want it to be more meaningful now. Anybody else wants to have a look at show today? We all learn from each other. Anybody? Haley, where's yours? Give me your student number. David Makwanazi. No. 89? No, it's not there. Oh, maybe I already marked it. Zanda, I marked it. Anybody else? Let's take Hadebe AN. Hadebe, are you here? No. Play K, are you here? Governor K, are you here? Play K. Oh, Kalen from Tonga. Well done. There we go. It says stores the user input, get input. I like this. I like this. But I want you to split it up even further, Kalen. I want processing. Okay? We don't like to do too many things in one go. Same with you. Right? I want you to separate it into 3 things: input, processing, and output. Right? It'll work. Haley, give me the 100. Oh, look at this. Can you see the output? See, can you see? It says the square root of 100 is 10. Yours will just have 10. Show the difference. Okay, we have to learn. Anybody else wants me to check their work? Let's look at the cube of a number. Let's look at the cube of the number. Governor J. Who's Governor J? Where's down? Oh, look at this. Late. How come I accepted that late? Sebeco HL. Who's Sebeco HL? Is that Haiti? Right. Let me go to Sebeco. Where's Sebeco? Right. Whoa! Look at this. She's got a declaration. She's got user input. If you all knew all of this, why did you expect me to teach you all of this thing, Haley? Y'all were just being polite and listening to me, right, Haley? I think I'll give you another example to work on, right, Haley? Y'all are too clever for me. I'm expecting 100% pass rate. Yay! Huh? Well done. Haley, I like this, Haley. You've got user input, output. Let me try and see if I can find something to comment on. You know what? She never write her full name, Haley. She only wrote H. She never said thank you. She only said please. Lisa, Nakwanda, she never said thank you for using my program. Well done. Right, let's run the program, but let me see if it works now. Give me any number between 2 and 4, Haley. 3. 3 cubed is 27. Ooh, this is magic. Lovely, well done. Okay. Mark it done. I'm so happy. 10 to 2, I should be finishing the lecture. Right? So I'd expect all of you to do it. I can see quite a number of late submissions over here. I'll mark it this time. And guess what? There's only 52 submissions. There's 118 in this class. I'm not going to get 100% pass rate if only 52 submit their work. Isn't that so, Haley? Right. Can we call it a day? Let's call it a day.